welcome back to my channel. In today's video I wanted to go through my chemical pregnancy line progression with you guys. I have been tracking my cycle from the start of like ovulation all the way until today, which is 16 DPO. Unfortunately, I am having another chemical miscarriage, a chemical pregnancy. If you don't know what that is, it is the earliest form of pregnancy where the embryo is not viable and so you are having a miscarriage. This is my third chemical miscarriage in a row, so I feel like I have become a little bit of an expert when it comes to picking up the signs. So with all that said, let's get into it. So I started tracking my cycle on cycle day 9, and this is my first proper time tracking ovulation to the point. So I did 12 o'clock during the day and 7 o'clock at night. My times are not 100% consistent, but I did try to get them around similar times. So cycle day 9, there was no line, with the faintest line on my ovulation test. And if you don't know, you do get a line on your ovulation test. However, for it to be a positive ovulation, you need it to be as dark as the control line, if not darker. So I continued to test and I ended up getting my positive ovulation on cycle day 12, which is pretty accurate for me. I've been manually tracking my cycle through like an app and a lady comp machine for 4 or 5 years now, so my cycle's pretty regular, but I just wanted to see how like it would pair up with the ovulation strip tests. So ovulated on cycle day 12, and then I kind of stopped tracking my ovulation then because I was like, right, ovulated, and then 3DPO I started testing for pregnancy. I know super early, but I literally bought 100 tests, so why not? I've got them. I just bought the cheapies. So I tested 3DPO, 4DPO, and then I was like, right, I probably should give it a break and come back because obviously they aren't picking them up. So I came back on 11 DPO, which I did a little asterisk here. It was the faintest line, guys. I could see it because I'm literally a serial pregnancy tester, and when you know, you know. So I saw the line. I said to Luca, like, hey, do you see a line? He had to put his glasses on and he's like, oh, not really, but kind of. I see a shadow. So then on 12 DPO, I saw the line again. It was like the shade, probably like one shade darker, still very, very faint. And I've noticed a little bit of a pattern with all my pregnancies. I tend to not show like my line. My HCG levels tend to not show until like a lot later, closer to my period. So I just assumed that. I had a really good feeling that this month was going to be my month, and I was trying to stay very positive. And then I continued to test on 12 DPO at 10 a.m. and then again at nighttime. My mistake, because obviously that's going to create more anxiety. I totally disregarded the concentration on my urine, and I was still getting the faintest lines, so it was being quite inconsistent. Again, that's my fault. On 13 DPO, and I don't know if you can see it, but there is a line there. So that was a fair bit darker in comparison to 12 and 11 DPO. That was my first urine in the morning, and then I continued to test at 1 p.m. and 8 p.m. and again, nothing. So my bad, not concentrating. Not concentration, consistency. Okay, so then the next day at 14 DPO, I took a pregnancy test at 6:30 in the morning, and as you can see, there is like the faintest line. It is very, very faint. So 14DPO was 2 days out of when my period was due, and by this time it should have been getting a lot darker. So I was getting concerned. I was kind of preparing for another chemical pregnancy, and I had a big cry because I just was trying to be really positive and thought that this was my month. So then I continued to test at nighttime. I did the 8 p.m. test and nothing came up, and I thought, okay, well that's it, like I've lost it. So you can see this one's like very blank. I then took the test at 15DPO, which is the day before my period, and a line came up again. Again, first morning wee. You can actually see this line if the camera picks it up. It's so faint, guys. I then took a test at 2 p.m. and 8 p.m. at 15DPO, and I don't know if you guys can see these. I took another test at 16DPO in the morning and in the late morning, and then again at 3 p.m. today. So they are all faint tests, and none of them seem to be getting darker. So I don't know if the camera is picking it up, but they're very, very faint lines, and to me I can clearly see the latest one, maybe perhaps because they haven't faded yet. But at 16DPO, it should be almost as dark as the control line. So I haven't had my bleed yet, but with such low HCG levels and from my past 3 chemical experiences, I can tell that I'm experiencing another chemical miscarriage. I have been very crampy, and it's in a matter of time or a few days that I should expect another bleed. So I have gotten 15 positive tests. However, they are all very faint and all over like a period of time. And I'm kind of at a rock where I don't really know what direction to go in. I have already gotten a scan done to see if there was any damage done to my uterus when I had the clinical miscarriage and had to get the D&C. I also got my hormonal bloods checked, which again I have to pick up the results tomorrow, but I just have to consult my doctor to see which direction we need to go into, because I really thought that this was my month, and I had a really good feeling, and I had all of the pregnancy symptoms as well. I had the sorest boobs, guys, like, oh my goodness, they would wake me up in the morning because they would be throbbing. Another indication that I am miscarrying is my symptoms have gone away. As soon as that HCG started to plummet, like completely, I could feel the drop in symptoms because I'm no longer lethargic like I was. I am still like hormonal because my hormones are like all over the place at the moment, but I just don't have the same pregnancy symptoms as to when I first got like that first positive line at 11DPO. So I thought I would share this with you guys just in case you are going through a chemical pregnancy. It's very, very confusing, and I feel like a lot of people actually don't talk about it. I'm always searching on the internet and on YouTube for people's personal experiences with chemical pregnancies, and a lot of chemical pregnancies actually come under not being detected because people do mistaken them for their period. The reason why a lot of women can pick them up is if they are constantly pregnancy testing, and because of early pregnancy testing kits at home, we are able to pick up that rise and drop of HCG levels. So I really hope that this video helps you if you are going through a chemical pregnancy. Just know that you're not alone and that you're allowed to grieve as much as a clinical miscarriage, because at the end of the day, you did have an embryo, it just wasn't viable, and that doesn't mean you are any less of a woman. It doesn't mean that you didn't experience a miscarriage. An early miscarriage is just as hard as a later term miscarriage. I've experienced both, and I can tell you now that the more miscarriages I have, the harder it gets, because it's so easy to fall into that victim mentality. But ladies, please stay strong. We are in this together, and I'm giving you all of my love and prayers and positivity, because I really truly believe that it's the universe's timing, or whatever higher power you believe in. It'll all work out at the end of the day. With all that said, I am going to love you guys and leave you, and I will see you in the next one. Bye guys.